This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you in part by Telex, the interconnection company, owners and operators of 56 Marietta, the most network-rich co-location facility in the Southeast. Tag TV and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. The Tech Talk continues its exploration into the nature of startups and the importance of the upcoming CapVenture training program. Last edition, we went inside the issue of angel and venture funding and the hard-to-admit problem that while strong on vision and bottom-line business skills, most entrepreneurs just don't have a clue on how to raise early-stage funding. Our special Tech Talk focus remains clear. If you're an entrepreneur or a top executive in an early-stage company, remember this: CapVenture, and mark your calendar for August 25th through September 29th. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, June 30th, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. CapVenture, the unique training program that will educate and equip you for smarter, more productive results in capitalization of your business. A powerhouse package of knowledge presented by Georgia Tech's Advanced Technology Development Center, ATDC, and TAG's Entrepreneurial Society. Learn a disciplined process for successful capitalization and meet, network, and gain tips from peers and professional mentors. Even have the opportunity to pitch dozens of investors at the premier venture capital funding event in Atlanta. Today's Tech Talk is all about results, as Tino speaks with a former CapVenture participant, now successful company CEO of GlobalCrypto, Todd Merrill. Atlanta-based application security provider GlobalCrypto software protects web applications and their users from internet fraud and malicious attacks. Todd started GlobalCrypto in June of 2006 after decades of experience as a software engineer with such major players as AT&T, Bell South, and Scientific Atlanta, as well as a former CTO for Performance IT. Also prior to GlobalCrypto, Todd was lead engineer at Sienna Software, at Air Defense as a software engineer, and as a technical consultant for critical security components at Cambia. What trends are happening in the startup space at GlobalCrypto? Just what did participation with organizations like TAG and ATDC do to help his company reach success? It's all about CapVenture, all about startups and the real world of running a globally competitive software company in today's tough economic reality. As Tino speaks with former CapVenture participant, successful local startup entrepreneur, and CEO of GlobalCrypto, Todd Merrill.
Todd, thanks for joining me on Tech Talk.
Hey, Tino, how are you?
Good. Hey, let's jump in and talk. Got a lot of listeners interested in hearing what's happening with your company. So how are things going given this economy with GlobalCrypto?
Well, it's a challenging world out there in the market. But part of being a startup is you continue to adapt and evolve, and that's part of our advantage of being small and nimble, so we can adapt and change our business model and find ways we can help our customers.
Well, in terms of ATDC and the local startup community, to carry forward from my first question, but what do you see in the landscape short term, and maybe not that you're in the forecasting business, but longer term?
Down there at ATDC, there's a number of companies. Everybody's struggling to keep going and survive. There's a number of new companies that are coming on board. I think now is a particularly good time to start something. I think as we move into 2010, the economy is going to pick up here. I think there's a wide acknowledgement of that out there in the market. And as some of these bigger companies that have been around for a while start to open up their checkbooks and see a little bit more profitability and have a little bit more bandwidth to take on new projects, that's going to help everybody, especially in the startup community.
Now, you were one of the first companies to enter into CapVenture, and I believe you actually won the competition. So what did, because one of the things we're encouraging is young companies to take a look at CapVenture in terms of an opportunity. So did it help you, and how did it help your company?
Oh, absolutely. CapVentures was one of those rare, great programs where we had the perfect combination of people in the room. We had a small number of entrepreneurs that were in the room, and everybody was very, very high quality, very dedicated, very focused on exactly the same problem that I had, raising that first little slug of money. And then we also had mentors from the community, which was actually a huge deal for us. One example, I had Glenn McGonigal as my mentor. He's one of the first guys over there at ISS in the security space, and that was tremendously valuable. And I mean, even to this day, we still talk about stuff, and he's still helping me out. So, the contacts you make at CapVentures are definitely valuable, and that was definitely not on the list of things that you expected when you went in there to CapVentures. So it definitely over-delivered, in my opinion.
So for the listeners out there, there's still time to sign up. July 15th is the deadline, and the program starts on August 25th. So it's a program that's worth looking at. I think, talked about money raise. I know that was the major emphasis of the program, but it seemed like you guys covered a pretty broad spectrum of activities that surround that money-raising activity. For example, things along the lines of how to develop your elevator pitch and how to, kind of your go-to-market strategy, how you would be looking to talk to. So what kinds of things, I know it was a 5-week program at the time, once a week for 5 weeks?
Actually, it was more like 8 weeks.
Okay.
And you get kind of sick of that same little bitty conference room over there. But it is a crucible. And, from day one, they say, okay, stand up and tell us what you do. And you have 1 minute, go. And then we all stood up and kind of mumbled and fumbled, and, some of us did better than others. And, it was competitive from the word go. And then, that first day you realize, oh, crap, I've got to really get this down. And, I really am deficient here. And then they say, okay, well, here's a piece of paper. Here's what a structured elevator pitch is. Let's break it down. Here are the 5 points you have to communicate in a minute. And then it becomes not such a big deal. And then so now, it's really easy to do an elevator pitch. And then from there, you go into a one-pager, and you go into your slide deck, and then, from there, after that, we can talk about a business plan. But those are the things that you need, the tools that you need to go out and fundamentally pitch people. And so CapVentures is very structured, it's very orderly, but it makes you work very hard, and it makes you realize exactly what you have to do. And not only do you get those tools, but you also have these market exercises where they give you a spreadsheet, where you have to think long and hard. Is this business really a fundable business? And am I really, in my team, are we really a fundable team? And so you go through and you evaluate where you are in life. And, sometimes the answers aren't really pleasant, but you at least where you have to go and shore up problems or change tack.
So then we talked about more narrowly in terms of CapVenture. So the final question will be a broader question in terms of how TAG and even the business community is an entrepreneur in Georgia. We hear mixed reviews. We hear about Silicon Valley and Massachusetts and other parts of the country that may have more infrastructure than we do here locally. Obviously, I think everybody here feels there's some good things going on. But from your perspective, how can TAG and the business community be more helpful to startups in Georgia? Are there some missing links that have to be added for more entrepreneurs to establish here, grow here?
Sure. I'm from Georgia, so I'm a big believer in our community down here in Atlanta. One of the things I'll point to that we need more of, or we could use more of, is something that happened to me at CapVentures. Somebody who wasn't even my mentor, he was another mentor, socialized with us at the spaghetti line. We had about 10 minutes to eat our dinners every night. Michael Reen was working over there at ChoicePoint, which is now LexisNexis. An example of a great Georgia company that spun out of Equifax, another great Georgia company. And they really didn't have a culture of buying from startups. As a matter of fact, they had processes in place to eliminate buying from startups and maybe quote unquote unstable companies. So Michael went in there and explained, he just walked me right in the front door and got the top couple guys in the room and said, hey, these guys have a great idea. It's something we can use. It's a way we can innovate quickly. These guys will bend over backwards to help us out, and we can get it, this software at a cheap price because, we're early adopters, and this is not something that we normally would do in our normal business evaluation processes, but it's something we can do every once in a while. It'll help them, it'll help us, and it'll, get everybody down the road. And that kind of thinking is what we need a lot more of here in Georgia. If you're in a large company, go to some of these events, like CapVentures and others. Find some of these local startups. If there's some way you can come in and just, coach these people, give them a little bit of market feedback and say, hey, your product sounds good, but if you could do these other couple things, then we'd really love to, bring it into our lab, kick it around a little bit, make a little bit of time for you. And it's such a big deal getting that early market feedback and then also getting that critical first couple big customers to just test drive it, if nothing else, and hopefully buy your product.
Well, that's a great point, and just helping to make those connections between the large companies. We've had a number of companies, large in scale, join us in the Premier Membership category, which means everybody in their company is eligible to participate in TAG programs and to connect those leaders, the CIOs, the CTOs, and others on the buying side with the younger companies. And a lot of them want to do that. I think it's just figuring out a way to make it happen. But that's a good note to leave on, something we have to work on here in Georgia. And Todd, congratulations on your success, and thanks for joining me today on Tech Talk.
Sure. Hey, Tino, one last thing.
Yes.
GlobalCrypto is launching a service called bunkermail, bunkermail.com here in early July. So love to do a little shout-out for our service. And thanks for everything that you guys do over there at TAG. We really appreciate TAG being a part of the community and helping out our little startups.
Thank you, Todd. And Bunker Mail, everybody's heard that, so I'm sure you can go on your website. What's your website, Todd?
Well, it's globalcrypto.com, but you can also go to bunkermail.com and check it out.
All right, so everybody should check that out. Thanks for joining me again on Tech Talk.
Great. See you soon.